All right, so we're just gonna call everything up to this point a practice run, and yeah, and all right, so um, I I got my first bass in '98, and I got a practice amp at that point. Um, At some point, I had a Zoom Multi. I had those little Dan Electros. I've had a '70s 215 early solid state Ampeg where you pulled and got an echo effect, and it was a weird echo effect, which was fun. The head blew up on that, and I had a Harkey. I sold that when I went out to Oregon. Um, I had a little Ampeg with a 12, um, and then when COVID happened and we started doing the outdoor worship, I bought this Portaflex with the 15 inch. I just always preferred the 15 inch, uh, and so I got that for the outdoor worship. Um, but definitely to the extent of some people, I'm not a gear guy. Um, I get excited about the project, and then I want to get the tools for that project. Um, and I do a little bit of browsing, shopping therapy. Um, you know, but you know, compared to others, I'm fine. I'm not a gear guy, but I don't have a problem compared to these guys. But anyways, so we went to a quiet stage, maybe 10 years ago. It was pre-COVID. We went to the in-ears. All the amps came off the stage, and so at that time I took it upon myself to build a bass signal chain for the church, and so it's a tuner, which is also your kill switch, a Dynacomp. Uh, it was cheap and it had two dials. Um, the my big muff has been in and out of that chain. Um, a volume pedal. I ended up not really digging the volume pedal, but there's a young woman at church and she uses it. So I'm leave it. It's as long as I remember to have it all the way up, it's not in my way. And a MXR bass preamp, which has the mid frequency selector, so you can cut at 500 hertz. All right, so this is my first little sidebar. I've been going down a little bit of a YouTube rabbit hole while I'm doing my pedalboard project to see what other people have and see if there's anything that I'm missing, anything. And so one thing is a lot of guys talk about if they can be heard, and the old line about the sound guide not having your level high enough, which the struggle is real. I get that, but instead of before you get micro synths and saturation and distortion and then do all sorts of weirdness to sound good over phone speakers. Uh, Step one, cut your 500 frequency. Make a frequency cut at 500. Stay out of the way of the rest of the band. If you cut those muddy, block out everything frequencies, if you cut those out, then the sound guy might turn you up. If you're not in the way of the rest of the band, you have a better chance of having your levels brought up. So, you know, anyways, I'm moving, and it's probably a year out, but I'm moving, and I'm just leaving the signal chain that I built for the church to the church, and I am upgrading and building something that I can take with me, plug in, bring home, use to record, and so I'm just in the middle of that project. And in the meantime, these college kids, they asked me right before Christmas to do a worship night with them, and it was really fun, and I love doing the full set. You know, Sunday morning, it's, you know, 2-3 songs, then come back and do one, maybe 2 more songs, and you never get that momentum. You know, 4 or 5 songs into a set, that you go to a level, at least I do, emotionally, mentally, and I don't think that's probably not unique to worship. You know, there's a difference between getting up at a coffee house and doing your 15 minutes, and having, you know, being booked and having your hour to do your set list. Anyways, so that has expedited things. So I'm just going to go over what I'm using next Friday, and what my plans are as far as building a pedal board. All right, so let's start out. Number one, power. If you're spending money on pedals and effects and basses, etc., then spend the money on the power, especially if it's going to be a mobile unit. You don't know where you might end up plugging in. Some places have wiring that goes back to when Edison was killing elephants, and Tesla was walking on metal plates with cork shoes, and, you know, the sparks flying everywhere. So you don't know what the wires in the wall. You don't know how old the wires in the wall are. So assume the worst and prepare. Okay. Now, normally and ultimately, I will have a tuner at the beginning of the signal chain. For next Friday, they're letting me have my bass amp up on stage, and so my plan for the tuner, I'm gonna have this running off the send on the Ampeg, and I'm not going to return it. So it's just going to be an always-on tuner display, but I'm not going to have this in the signal chain. Okay. All right. So now let's get to the signal chain, and what is some of this stuff is locked in. Pretty much everything you see today is locked in and is going to be on the board for the foreseeable future. Okay, so the first thing in the signal chain, and the tuner I'm looking at has a buffer. I need to look into that more, but the first thing in the signal chain is going to be the vintage Microtubes by Darkglass. I have a setting in blue for my Dub King that's getting that Motown, you call it the B15 sound, even though in the studio they were running through these tube direct boxes. But you know, if you say Motown sound or B15 sound, people know what you're talking about. And so the blue is my Motown, and then the little brown golden spots, that's a sweet spot that I found for the fretless. So this is going to be always on, unless I have something else engaged that I decide that it sounds better with this off because I'm running the other thing. The other thing being this guy right here. Yeah, I haven't done a lot. I'll do some testing and decide, make some decisions. So this guy, I've had this guy for forever, and every time I do one of these worship nights, every time we do something like this for the church, my one request is, can we do Revelation song? And every time it's been fine. Every time they go, oh yeah, we haven't done that in a while, and we do it. And when I do Revelation song, I use this. I've never asked for permission, but I've never been told not to. So I'm using this on Revelation song. I'm gonna be going through the set list song by song and writing down what bass, what like. So that I'm prepared going into the practice. So definitely this is going to be used on Revelation song. I'm going to keep it on the board. I don't use it a lot, but when I want this is the thing. So even though it's not going to be used every Sunday, there are going to be times where like I got it ready. I got it on standby. Okay. The next thing in my signal chain is going to be my compression. Kali, the Origin Effect Kali 76 are the gold standard. They're also almost $400. This guy is also a FET compressor with transformers, so it's doing that 60s 1176 studio compressor thing. That is the thing that you want. The controls are different than the Kali 76, and so you definitely have some desirable features on the Kali 76, but this is, as far as sound quality, this is on par. This has the thing and does the thing. If you have the money and get the Kali 76 because that is the gold standard, nobody's questioning that. This is a good alternative. This is a awesome alternative, actually. And this is what I got, and I like it. So this is going to be always on. I got the settings for studio bass, getting that sound set. I may slow down my release with the fretless on occasion, but this will be always on. And there's a pretty good set. I'll do the whole set without ever touching it. Okay. Let me get a drink of water. The next thing in the signal chain. The next thing in the signal chain is going to be the tone hammer. The tone hammer has the sweepable mids. So I'll have it cutting at 500. And kind of looking at videos with other guys, it seems like that's where that is. I might play around with a little bit, but I think I said this already, but if you can cut the 500 and get out of the way of the rest of the band, maybe they'll turn you up. All right. I'll say this because it's on my heart. I've been deep diving a little bit and seeing what other guys' pedal boards are and you know, just seeing if there's anything that I missed, if there's anything that I would want to try. And so one thing that's come up is people talking about how they make sure that they can be heard on people's cell phones. You know, like, oh, I do these things so that if when you know, when you listen to it later, or you're streaming online, you can hear it on, you can hear the bass on your phone. And they talk about, uh, you know, it's that ongoing thing of like, it's the struggle is real. I want to be respectful and friendly and a team player with the front of the house, but between you and me, a lot of times the front of the house uh, doesn't know what to do with the bass. And uh, philosophically, uh, I am totally opposed to changing your sound in the room to uh, to make it sound audible on on phone speakers. I think that's wrong. I think the people that you're playing with and the people that you're playing for in the room, without question, come first before um, your preference and your desire to be heard. And I think that applies in the room too. You know, hopefully you got a good subwoofer, you got a good guy on front of house, and you're bringing that low end and staying out of the room. Beyond that, just put your ego on the put your ego. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not gonna be using the AGS Friday one. I already get my saturation over here. I got this used from my buddy James. I really like that it has that mid range. This is my forever guy. But I have notes. You know, like if Aguilar wants to reach out to me and build the perfect preamp, I think I have some notes for him. I think it would be called the Tone Hammer AG. It would have this. It would have the bump for low and high that the AG does. So you would have your sweepable mid, you'd have your two set mids, you'd have your AGS, you'd have, so it would just be both of them like together, and it would also have an effects loop so that you can you know, use it as a DI box, but also introduce things in the signal chain that come after the preamp. Okay, so Friday I'm not going to be using this as a DI box. I will always have the option of offering this as a DI box to the front of house, but this is not the end of the signal chain, so it is not the DI. All right, so the next thing in the signal chain is the suboctave. There's one song I'm going to have the suboctave all the way down, and my dry signal turned down a little bit so that it just leads with this. There's one song that's what we're going for. There's at least one other song where I'll have my dry all the way up and my sub octave underneath that, you know, subtle but strong, that I'm going to do with the fretless. And so I know I'm going to be using this on at least 2 different songs, 2 different ways. And this thing, I got it because of the fretless. When I got the fretless, I was like, oh yeah, I should get an octave pedal because, you know, I want to do that thing. And this guy, it's great on the fretless. I ended up really liking what it does with the Dub King with the flat wounds. Yeah, so this thing, I'm really I thought I was gonna like this. I love this, and it's cool. You know, I got this for the fretless with the fretless in mind, and it ends up being really cool with the Dub King. I mean, that's the complete. You know, that's as opposite as you can get is those 2 basses, and this works for both basses. And same with this. I got this for the Dub King, and it does stuff with the fretless that I really like. Okay, so after the octave, I'm going to be using a high pass filter. Assuming you don't know what a high pass filter is, basically the lowest frequencies, the stuff that you don't want. This tames that. This guy, my buddy James, who sold me his tone hammer when he upgraded to the next generation of tone hammers, he went ahead and gave me this. So this is what I'm going to use. Friday It's Better Than Nothing, but ultimately I want to get what's called a thumpinator from England. I got this idea from Dusty Hill and what he did with ZZ Top. If you there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube. So if you watch a YouTube a ZZ Top concert, a live, you know, especially I'm not sure what year he started doing this, but you know, all through the 2000s. Dusty Hill, so you got a 3-piece band, you have all the space to fill, and Dusty's bass tone is just huge. It's you know, so what he was doing is he was running a channel with an octave down, not with this, but he was running an octave down, and then he had this this thumpinator, which this guy is like a it's like a school bus driver saying, hey, keep it quiet back there, but the kids are already on the bus. The thumpinator is like a bouncer at the door, with 20-inch biceps, covered in tattoos, you know, and he decides who gets into the club and who doesn't. This guy, the kids are getting on the bus. We're gonna try to keep them in control. The thumpinator, if we don't want them in the club, they're not getting in the club. And so I'm stealing from Dusty Hill, steal from the best. That's the, if you take away anything, steal from the best. Okay, so and so that's gonna keep. It's not. I'm gonna have to be careful when I have the sub-octave on, not to go below the A string. Ultimately, when I have the thumpinator, I don't have to worry about it because the thumpinator worries about that. Okay, so I have been playing bass since the late 90s, and I found out something with this project. Just, you know, this week I found this out, and I wish I had known it from the beginning. I should have been plugging in to active direct boxes with phantom power. And there's a lot of people that I've worked with who should have known that too. But I know now, and even before I knew that, I didn't want to be in a situation where I'm going wherever I go and relying on whatever they have there. So if it's a $40 direct box, it is what it is. In the meantime, I found out I need to have active anyway. So and you don't know if they're going to have an active direct box. By the way, the reason for that is all my basses have passive pickups. Bartolonis are passive pickups. So if you have active pickups, you're fine with a passive direct box. If you have passive pickups, you need an active direct box. Okay, so I'm putting a direct box on my board. The other thing is, not that this isn't good. Not that this isn't a good direct box, or that I've had any issues going direct out of either my Ampeg or the old Fender that we had on the stage at church for years and years. Not that I had any issues, but I'm future proofing, and it's that philosophy of like, do it once and do it right, and you don't have to do it again. So I had something picked out. I talked to my Sweetwater guy. He said it's fine. He said if I want to get that. But since I'm asking him, he told me what his top choice was, and so I deferred to him, and I got this. This is the Telefunken active DI box. So you need to have 48 volts running from the front of house. It's a DI box, so nothing too excited, but the way it's built, I could use this. I could get that corner. I could like club a zombie, crack the skull, get to the brain with it, and then it would still work as a DI box. All that to say, it's built like a tank. They are letting me use the Ampeg on next Friday. When everything went to in-ears and the quiet stage, I understood the reasoning. I've done sound before, and I know the frustration of feedback, and and not to single anybody out, but guitar players, and just trying to get these guys to not crank it up. All those issues are valid, and the struggle is real. But now that I've had a lot of experience with quiet stages and in-ears, I think we might have screwed up, guys. I think we might have screwed up. It was a more chaotic time, but it was a lot more fun. And yeah, you did have to deal with stuff. But I'll tell you what, as a sound guy, and especially as a bass player, I am not less stressed. We don't have less problems. We just have different problems. In the meantime, it hasn't been as fun, has it? What do you think? All right.